My mom didn't say hello. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't even do the fake warm tone she uses when she wants something. She just said, straight into my ear like a command, transfer your savings. Today, your brother needs a new car. I was walking out of a meeting when she called, still holding a folder, still in work mode. My brain was half full of spreadsheets and deadlines. For a second, I thought I misheard her. What? I said, stopping in the hallway. You heard me, she snapped. Don't start. We don't have time. I stared at the wall like it might explain what was happening. My savings? I asked. Yes, all of it. You're sitting on money while your brother is stranded. I felt my throat tighten. My entire savings account wasn't money. It was my life in slow motion. It was 5 years of saying no to everything. No vacations. No upgrades. No new car, even when mine started making a sound like a dying lawnmower. It was every overtime shift I didn't need, but took anyway, because I wanted one thing I'd never had growing up: stability. I took a breath. How much do you think I have? I asked carefully. She laughed. I know how much you have. That sentence hit me like a cold slap. Because I hadn't told her. Not recently. Not the full number. Not the updated balance after my last bonus. How do you know? I asked. She ignored the question. Your brother's car is done, she said. Completely. Totaled. There was a pause, and then she added, like she was announcing whether. He wasn't hurt. Thank God. I waited for the part where she said, so we're figuring it out. Instead, she said, so you're going to help. I closed my eyes. Mom, I said slowly, I'm not transferring my entire savings. Her tone changed instantly. Hard. Oh, don't do this. Do what? Act like you're not family. There it was. Family is a weapon. Where is Dad? I asked. He's here, she snapped. And he agrees. A muffled voice in the background, my father's voice. Just help your brother out. He needs you. I felt something twist in my chest. Not sadness. Familiarity. This wasn't new. This was the script. My brother, Aaron, has always been the family emergency. He's the kind of person who lives like consequences are for other people. He buys things he can't afford, blows money like it's confetti, and when it collapses, my parents rush in with their arms out like they're catching a falling vase. And I've been the one expected to pay for the vase. Growing up, I was the responsible one, which sounds like a compliment until you realize it's actually a role. I was responsible so Aaron could be reckless. I was careful so he could be careless. I was quiet so my parents didn't have to deal with conflict. Where is Aaron? I asked. He's here, Mom said. I heard movement. Then his voice came through, casual as hell. Yo, like this was a group chat. Your car is totaled? I asked. It's not that bad, he said. It's just, the insurance is being annoying. My jaw clenched. What happened? A pause. Then, some idiot ran a light. My mother jumped in immediately. Don't interrogate him, she snapped. He's stressed. That's another family rule. Aaron doesn't get questions. Aaron gets comfort. I could feel heat rising in my face. Okay, I said. So you want me to buy him a car? We want you to transfer the savings, Mom corrected, like I was being slow. It's faster. How much are we talking about? I asked. All of it, she said again, sharper. Because he needs something reliable, not some junk. And you can rebuild your savings. You're good at that. That was the part that made my stomach drop. Not just the demand. The certainty. The assumption that my life was flexible. That my future could be paused, rewound, sacrificed, because Aaron needed something right now. I'm saving for a down payment, I said. You know that. You don't need a house right now, she snapped. You have an apartment. It's a rental. So, she shot back. You're fine. Your brother isn't. I laughed once, short and humorless. You're telling me I'm fine because I can keep renting, but Aaron needs a new car immediately? Yes, she said, as if it was obvious. Because he needs it for work. He can get a used car, I said. A cheap one. I'll help him find one. I'll even contribute some money. But I'm not draining my savings. The silence on the other end was thick. Then my dad spoke, low and disappointed. You've changed. There it was. The accusation they use when you stop complying. No, I said. I grew up. My mother exploded. Don't get smart with me. You think you're better than us because you have a little money? It's not little money, I said, voice tight. It's my future. And your brother is your family. I know. Then act like it, she snapped. Transfer it. I felt my pulse in my throat. No. Her breath hitched. What did you say? No, I repeated. I'm not giving you my entire savings. The air on the call changed. My mother went quiet in that way she does right before she goes nuclear. Then she said, slow and venomous. Okay, then don't call us when you need anything. I almost laughed again. When I need anything. As if I've ever been allowed to need anything. I'm not asking you for anything, I said. You will, she snapped. And when you do, remember this moment. Remember that you abandoned your brother. Abandoned. Like my savings account was a life raft and I was refusing to throw it. I'm not abandoning anyone, I said. I'm refusing to be financially abused. There was a sharp inhale. Abused, my mother spat. How dare you? You're demanding all my savings, I said. That's not normal. It isn't a family, she insisted. No, I replied. It's control. The line went silent for a second. Then Aaron spoke again, annoyed now. Bro, don't be dramatic. It's just money. Just money. I stared at the wall so hard my eyes hurt. Okay, I said quietly. Then you won't mind earning your own. My mother shrieked. Don't talk to him like that. Like what? I asked. Like he's some stranger. He's acting like one, I said. My mother's voice turned icy. Fine. We'll do this another way. My stomach tightened. What does that mean? It means, she said, sweetly now, which was worse. We're coming over tonight. We'll talk face to face. And you will transfer it, because you're not going to embarrass us. There it was. Public pressure, even if the public was just my living room. My mother believed that if she showed up with my father and my brother, if she filled the room with expectation, I would fold. She always believed that, because I usually did. I looked at Nora, who had stepped into my office doorway while I was on the call. She'd heard enough to understand everything. I covered the phone and mouthed, they're coming. Her eyes hardened. She mouthed back, no they're not. I went back to the call. Don't come, I said. My mother laughed. We'll see. Then she hung up. I stood there, heart pounding, staring at my phone like it had teeth. Nora walked in fully and closed the door behind her. Tell me exactly what she said, she asked. I swallowed. She wants my entire savings, I said. For Aaron's new car. Nora's face didn't change, but her voice went very calm. Okay, she said. Then tonight we stop this for good. They showed up anyway. Of course they did. Not one car. Two. My parents in Dad's SUV. Aaron behind them in the crumpled sedan that apparently wasn't that bad. He parked it halfway across our driveway like a visual aid. See? Emergency. I watched from the living room window while Nora stood beside me, arms crossed, steady. They're going to perform, she said quietly. I know. The doorbell rang. Then rang again. Then my mother knocked like she was serving papers. I opened the door before she could start shouting through it. She didn't greet me. She walked in. No invitation. No hesitation. Aaron followed, head down but smirking slightly, like he was annoyed this was taking so long. My father hovered near the doorway like a reluctant accomplice. Sit. My mother said, gesturing to my own couch. I didn't move. You don't give orders here, Nora said calmly from behind me. My mother's eyes flicked to her. Oh, I'm sorry, she said in that fake sweet tone. Is this not still his family? It is, Nora replied. That's why this is inappropriate. My mother turned back to me. Transfer it, she said flatly. Now, before this turns into something ugly. I felt a pulse of anger in my throat. It already is ugly, I said. My dad stepped in, hands raised like he was calming a bar fight. Let's just talk, he muttered. Talk about what? I asked. The fact that you want my entire savings because Aaron can't manage his life. Aaron bristled. Watch it, he snapped. No, I said. You watch it. The room tightened. My mother clapped her hands once sharply. Enough, she said. We're not here to fight. We're here to fix this. This, I repeated, isn't mine to fix. It is, she said instantly. Because you have the money. There it was. Not because I caused it. Not because I'm responsible. Because I have it. She sat down without being asked, crossed her legs, looked around the living room like she was assessing assets. You don't even own this place, she said dismissively. You're renting. That's temporary, I replied. Exactly, she said. So you don't need the savings right now. I stared at her. Mom, I said slowly. You're asking me to drain 5 years of work. You'll make it back. That's not the point. It is the point, she snapped. You're capable. He isn't. Aaron rolled his eyes. Thanks, he muttered. But he didn't deny it. And that was the part that made my stomach turn. They knew the dynamic. They leaned into it. My father cleared his throat. It's just temporary, he said. We'll pay you back. When? I asked. Silence. Soon, my mother said vaguely. With what? I pressed. Aaron doesn't have savings. You don't have savings. What are you paying me back with? Her face tightened. Don't be disrespectful. I'm being factual. Aaron leaned forward. It's just money, he said again. Why are you acting like we're asking for a kidney? Because this money wasn't numbers. It was security. It was the first time in my life I wasn't one emergency away from panic. You've borrowed before, I said quietly. My mother's head snapped up. That was different. When I gave you $8,000 for the roof, I continued, you said you'd repay me in a year. We had medical bills. And when I gave Aaron $3,000 for business equipment, I added, that never came back either. Aaron shifted in his seat. That was an investment. In what? I asked. Your failed podcast. Don't be sarcastic, my mother warned. I'm not, I said. I'm tired. The air felt heavy. Because this wasn't about one car. This was about pattern. You've always had more discipline, my mother said suddenly, softer now. I recognized that tone. This was the pivot. From aggression to emotional leverage. You've always been the strong one, she continued. The responsible one. That used to feel good. Now it felt like a trap. So be strong, she said gently. For your brother. Translation, absorb the damage. Nora spoke for the first time in several minutes. Strength doesn't mean sacrificing his future, she said. My mother's eyes flashed. You stay out of this. He's my husband, Nora replied calmly. He was our son first, my mother shot back. The word first hung in the air. Ownership language. I felt something in my chest go very still. You're not hearing yourselves, I said. We're hearing selfishness, my mother snapped. I exhaled slowly. How do you even know how much I have? I asked suddenly. She froze for half a second. I don't, she said too quickly. You said you did. That's not the point. It is to me. My mind started replaying things. Questions she'd asked casually over the past year. How much was your bonus? Are you still putting away 20%? You must have a nice cushion by now. At the time, I'd answered vaguely. Had she been guessing? Or worse, had she seen something? You don't have access to my account, I said carefully. Her expression flickered. Just for a second. And that was enough. My stomach dropped. You tried to get access, I said. I did not, she barked. You tried to guess my password? That's insane. Did you call the bank? My father shifted uncomfortably. That was the tell. Answer me, I said. She looked at my dad. Then back at me. We just wanted to know if you were in a position to help, she said defensively. That's not what I asked. Aaron stood up suddenly. Are you serious right now? He snapped. You think they're stealing from you? I laughed once. You're demanding my entire savings. And you're acting like a victim, my mother yelled. I am, I said. That made her explode. You have a roof, a job, stability. And you're crying victim because your brother needs a car? Yes, I said evenly. Because you're trying to take everything I built. You didn't build it alone. I did, I replied. Her face went white. What? I built it, I repeated. Not you. Not him. Me. The room felt electric. You wouldn't even have that job without the way we raised you, she shouted. That doesn't entitle you to my savings. You owe us, she screamed. There it was. The real sentence. Not help. Not support. Debt. You owe us for every sacrifice we made. My heart pounded, but my voice didn't rise. You chose to have children, I said quietly. That wasn't an investment. The silence after that was violent. My father's mouth fell open. Aaron stared at me like I'd slapped him. And my mother looked like something inside her had cracked. You're ungrateful, she whispered. No, I said. I'm done. The word done didn't end it. It ignited it. My mother stood up so fast the coffee table rattled. You don't get to be done, she said, voice shaking. We are your parents. And this is my house, I replied. Aaron laughed sharply. Listen to him, he said. Mr. Independence. Get out, Nora said quietly. All three of them turned toward her. Excuse me, my mother asked. You heard me, Nora said. If you're here to bully him into draining his savings, you can leave. My father tried one last time to soften it. Let's just calm down. No, I said. No more calming down. I looked directly at Aaron. Tell me what really happened. He rolled his eyes. I told you. No, I said. Tell me why the insurance isn't covering it. He hesitated. That was all I needed. Was it a DUI? I asked. My mother gasped dramatically. How dare you? Aaron's jaw tightened. Don't, he warned. Was it? I repeated. Silence. My father stared at the floor. My mother looked between them. Finally, Aaron muttered, They're investigating. There it was. Translation, yes. And you want me to pay for that? I asked. It was a mistake, my mother said instantly. Everyone makes mistakes. Not everyone drives drunk. Aaron lunged forward a step. Watch your mouth. No, I said. You watch yours. My mother stepped between us like I was the threat. Stop attacking him. I'm asking for accountability. He doesn't need accountability, she shouted. He needs support. That's the problem, I said. He's never needed accountability. The air felt like it might split open. Aaron's face went red. You think you're better than me? He demanded. I think I don't expect other people to fix my consequences. My mother pointed at me like she was about to deliver a verdict. You have always resented your brother. I blinked. What? You've always thought you were superior. This money just proves it. This was her strategy. Flip the narrative. Make me the jealous one. You're not angry because we're asking, she continued. You're angry because you think he doesn't deserve what you have. I'm angry because you think I don't deserve to keep what I earned, I said. My father suddenly raised his voice, louder than I'd ever heard. Enough. We all turned. He looked exhausted. He needs a car, he said flatly. That's the reality. You have the money. That's the reality. And my reality? I asked. You're stable. So stability means I become the bank. He didn't answer, because that was exactly what they believed. My mother's tone shifted again. Lower. Sharper. If you don't transfer it, she said slowly, don't expect us at your wedding. Nora stiffened. There it was. The nuclear threat. I'm already married, I said quietly. Then don't expect us when you have children. My chest tightened. Don't weaponize imaginary grandchildren, I said. She ignored me. We will tell the entire family you refused to help your brother, she continued. We will make sure everyone knows. There it is, I said. What? You care more about what people think than what's right. She slapped the air with her hand. This is about family. No, I said. It's about image. Aaron scoffed. You're blowing this up. No, I replied. You blew up your car. He lunged again. My father grabbed his arm. Stop, Dad hissed. The room felt like it was vibrating. My mother's face twisted with rage. You will regret this, she said. When something happens to you, don't call us. I won't, I said. The words surprised even me. But they were true. Because something had shifted. This wasn't a negotiation anymore. This was an extraction attempt. And I wasn't consenting. You're cutting us off over money? My mother asked, incredulous. No, I said. You're forcing that choice. She stared at me. Last chance, she said. Transfer it. No. The finality in my voice stunned even me. My father exhaled like the air had left him. Aaron shook his head, laughing bitterly. Unbelievable, he muttered. You'd let your own brother struggle. I'd let you learn, I said. My mother's eyes went flat. Then we're done, she said. Yes, I agreed. For a second, none of us moved. Then she grabbed her purse. You think you're self-made? She spat. We made you. And I finished the job, I replied. That broke something. She looked like she wanted to scream. Instead, she turned and walked toward the door. Aaron followed, muttering under his breath. My father lingered. He looked at me like he wanted to say something meaningful, something protective, but all he said was, You'll understand when you're older. I already do, I replied. He left. The door closed, and the house went silent. Not tense, not fragile, just quiet. Nora stepped closer and took my hand. You okay? She asked. I looked at the door, at the empty driveway, at the version of family I had just severed, and I realized something brutal. They hadn't come for help. They had come to collect. And when the collection failed, they left. They didn't call that night, or the next, which was worse than if they had. Silence in my family has always meant one thing. They're regrouping. The smear campaign started 3 days later. My aunt texted first. I heard you refused to help Aaron. That's not like you. That's not like you. Translation. You've stepped out of your assigned role. Then my cousin. Then my grandmother. Every version of the same message. Your parents are devastated. Aaron is struggling. We didn't raise you this way. I didn't respond immediately. Because this time, I wasn't going to scramble to defend myself. I let the messages sit. Then I wrote one reply and sent it to everyone who contacted me. I was asked to transfer my entire savings because Aaron drove drunk and totaled his car. I offered to help him find an affordable used vehicle and contribute a portion. That was rejected. I will not drain my future to fund repeated consequences. I hit send. The responses slowed. Because facts are inconvenient. My mother didn't text. She called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "You've humiliated us," she said. "Do you have any idea what this looks like?" There it was again. What this looks like. Not what this is. Not what you did. Image. Always image. Then she added, "You've chosen money over family." I deleted the voicemail. Because that sentence was the final manipulation. This was never about choosing money. It was about choosing boundaries. A week later, I checked my credit. Not because I expected something. Because I no longer trusted anything. Everything was clean. Still, I froze it. All 3 bureaus. I changed banks. Not dramatically. Not as revenge. As protection. I moved the savings into an account my parents had never even heard of. New passwords. New security questions. New everything. Because if they could demand it so confidently, I wasn't going to underestimate them. 2 weeks passed. Then my father showed up alone. He didn't knock aggressively. Just one quiet ring of the bell. I opened the door, but didn't step aside. He looked older than I remembered. More tired. "Your mother won't talk about you without crying," he said. "I'm not responsible for her emotions," I replied. He nodded slowly. "We just thought you had more." "I do," I said. "Then why not help?" I stared at him. "I offered help," I said. "You didn't want help. You wanted control." He didn't argue. Because he knew. He just didn't want to say it. "You've changed," he murmured. I had to. He looked past me into the house, like he was searching for the son who used to fold under pressure. "He's your brother," he said finally. "And I'm your son," I replied. "Not your emergency fund." That landed harder than yelling ever could. He swallowed. "You're cutting us off?" "Yes." The word didn't shake. "Not this time." He nodded once, like he'd been expecting it. "We won't chase you," he said quietly. "I know." He turned and walked away. No drama. No shouting. Just distance. The final text came from my mother that night. "If you walk away now, don't come back." I read it 3 times. Then I typed, "I'm not walking away. I'm refusing to be used." Blocked. Her. Aaron. Anyone who tried to reopen the argument. No dramatic announcement. No social media post. Just quiet severance. The house felt different afterward. Lighter. But also hollow. Because there's a specific grief that comes with realizing your family saw you as a resource. Not a person. I sat at the kitchen table one night staring at my bank app. The number was still there. Untouched. It looked the same. But it meant something different now. It wasn't just a down payment. It was proof. Proof that I could protect myself. Proof that discipline wasn't selfish. Proof that love without boundaries is extraction. Growing up, I thought being the responsible one meant absorbing damage quietly. Now I understand something else. Responsibility doesn't mean self-sacrifice without limit. It means accountability. And accountability includes saying no. They told me I was choosing money over family. But what they really meant was, "You're choosing yourself over our control." And they were right. I did. I chose stability over chaos. I chose partnership over guilt. I chose a future that didn't require me to fund someone else's recklessness. It cost me my parents. It cost me my brother. It cost me the illusion that love in my family was unconditional. But it bought me something I'd never had before. Peace. And peace, I've learned, is more valuable than any inheritance they ever threatened to withhold. I didn't drain my savings. I drained the pattern. And when you break a pattern that's been running your whole life, it feels less like rebellion and more like survival.